I was gonna come and see ya. What? Where? When? At your place on the harbor. Rainbow Pub and Grill. Ah, yes, of course. You are welcome. If I were to say, I hear you've gone quiet lately, you might say, ah, yes, I've been thinking about things. And then ask me, these short films that you make, what are your ulterior motives? Ulterior motives? I might tell you, because I harbor them deep within. I want to be of service, follow my vocation. Perhaps I was meant to interview people, folks I've known mostly. The past and the present, as the saying goes. A shop name? A calling card? I know what it'll have. Just a picture of Michelangelo's David. The baseline? For the statue to stand bare, the fine speeches must take flight, like the pigeons. The Rainbow Pub and Grill. Very nice. Here comes the mojitos. To your prosperity. Some days it feels like I've been commissioned by Albert Camus himself. Imagine if that was true. What a great honor. I want to tell a few stories, from each of which we could draw out the various forms of this idea of self-love. Do you remember Eliot's poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock? It was written just over 100 years ago. At the start of the poem, an epigraph, this 6 lines in Italian. If you're talking resonance through time, then here's a great example. These lines are from Dante's Divine Comedy, written a little more than 700 years before. What Eliot seems to be saying is that everything in the love song is within the boundary of contemplation offered up in this epigraph. There's always a beyond which, because Prufrock, he has benefited, been enlightened by the experience of Dante's characters in the Divine Comedy. How do we know that? Well, here's a few lines from the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock to correlate. I have seen the moment of my greatness flicker, and I have seen the eternal footman hold my coat and snicker, and in short, I was afraid. These 6 lines in Italian, presented here as the epigraph by T.S. Eliot, is sort of a monologue offered up to Dante by this sinner, Guido da Montefeltro. He's a psychological thriller all unto himself as a character. He was convinced that he had it all worked out, had secured a place in heaven. And so when he enters the afterlife, there are these angels who are there to escort him to heaven. So far, all part of the plan in his head. But then a black cherubim appears. Do not take him. Do not wrong me. He must come down. Be among my slaves, because he gave fraudulent counsel. Guido does not agree and exclaims, but you see, sir, my case is exceptional. I have absolution. But of course, as we know, these appeals, they go nowhere. In fact, the cherubim responds, you had absolution before you committed the sin. It's a contradiction. It defies logic. Yes, the cherubim is also a fine logician. And so in the case of Guido, he's experiencing the burn on 2 fronts. The external searing heat of the flame, but also the anguish, the mental torment, which is burning him up from the inside. He believes he was tricked. He was duped. Now, within this pouch of damnation, in the 8th circle of hell, there's Guido, but there's also another occupant, and that is Ulysses. We'll get into both their stories and how different they are. And yet, the sin is the same, fraudulent counsel. But it's almost closing time. The tables are empty. But tell me, though, what happens to Prufrock? Oh, he's doing fine. He's found a little apartment by the sea. Grown old. Retired, you know. Here's a few lines from the end of the poem. I shall wear white flannel trousers and walk upon the beach. I've heard the mermaids singing, each to each. I do not think they will sing to me. We have lingered in the chambers of the sea, by seagulls wreathed with seaweed, red and brown, till human voices wake us and we drown. Come by tomorrow, will ya? We shall walk up to the lighthouse. We'll finish the rest of Guido's story, and then Ulysses. Self-love, the way Camus presents it, is an affliction. It's good to be self-aware.